You're not on the list. The words sliced through champagne-soaked air like a blade through silk. Marcus Williams, impeccably dressed in his Brioni suit, stands before the Metropolitan Museum's rooftop entrance where Manhattan's tech elite gather for the Pinnacle Innovation Awards. The security manager's eyes narrow, scanning the black executive with predatory precision. "Name?" Daniel Sterling demands, clipboard clutched like a weapon. Marcus states his name confidently. Sterling's finger traces the guest list. Twice, 3 times. A theatrical pause stretches between them as other guests slow their conversations, sensing drama brewing. "You're not on here," Sterling announces with practiced authority. "Sir, there must be some mistake," Marcus says calmly. Sterling's smile turns predatory. "No mistake. This is an exclusive event." Marcus pulls out his phone, displaying the official invitation. Sterling barely glances. "Anyone can fake these nowadays. What would you do if this happened to you? Drop your location in the comments." Sterling signals security, but Marcus doesn't move. He's calculating something they can't see. 30 minutes earlier, Marcus Williams steps from his understated Tesla Model S, adjusting his suit jacket with practiced precision. The Metropolitan Museum's rooftop venue sparkles above Manhattan's skyline, hosting the tech industry's most prestigious networking event. Tonight marks more than just another corporate gathering. His company, Nexus Dynamics, has just secured a revolutionary AI patent worth billions. At 42, Marcus has built his fortune through 3 successful tech startups, each one proving doubters wrong with surgical precision. His demeanor radiates quiet confidence, the kind earned through decades of transforming skepticism into success. Tonight, he's here to announce a major partnership that will reshape the industry's landscape. The valet performs a subtle double-take at the Tesla keys. The coat check attendant assumes he's with the catering staff. These microaggressions have become familiar territory, navigated with calculated grace and strategic silence. Inside the venue, Silicon Valley's elite mingle under crystal chandeliers. CEOs, investors, and tech luminaries fill the space with animated conversations about disruption and innovation. Marcus recognizes faces from Forbes covers, people who will soon become his partners in ways they don't yet understand. Daniel Sterling, 38 and head of event security, positions himself near the entrance like a self-appointed guardian. He takes visible pride in his discerning eye for determining who belongs at high-end events. His whispered comments to staff about maintaining standards reveal the ugly truth beneath his professional veneer. Marcus observes the room's intricate hierarchy, who defers to whom, who receives the warmest greetings, who commands immediate attention. He's studying an ecosystem he's about to fundamentally disrupt, cataloging power dynamics with the same analytical precision that built his empire. The event buzzes with energy as venture capitalists discuss billion-dollar valuations and startup founders pitch revolutionary concepts. Marcus moves through this world with belonging that comes from achievement, not permission. He's earned his place through innovation and excellence, though tonight will test whether others recognize that truth. Sterling notices Marcus approaching the entrance and activates his earpiece with deliberate authority. His voice carries the weight of someone who believes gatekeeping equals importance, someone who confuses control with competence. The stage is set for a collision between earned respect and assumed authority, between quiet dignity and loud prejudice. Sterling alerts his team through his earpiece. "We might have a situation." Sterling positions himself squarely in Marcus's path, clipboard raised like a defensive shield. His posture screams authority, but his eyes betray something uglier, the perverse thrill of exercising power over someone he's already judged and dismissed. "Good evening, Marcus Williams for the Pinnacle Innovation Awards." Marcus's voice carries boardroom authority, steady and professional. Sterling's expression remains unchanged, unmoved by the confident delivery. Sterling makes an elaborate show of checking his list, finger moving with deliberate slowness down the pages. He flips through them methodically, rechecks previous pages, even produces a second list from his jacket pocket. The performance is calculated for maximum humiliation. Williams, Sterling mutters, loud enough for gathering spectators to hear. No, not seeing it anywhere. Marcus maintains his composure despite the growing audience. There might be a mix-up. I'm the CEO of Nexus Dynamics. We're announcing a major partnership tonight. Look, sir. Sterling's voice rises slightly, ensuring maximum visibility. I don't know what game you're playing, but this is a very exclusive event. Maybe you're thinking of a different venue? Community center, perhaps? Other guests begin gravitating toward the commotion. Some discreetly pull out phones, sensing potential social media gold. Marcus catches glimpses of recording lights activating, the modern pillory of viral shame beginning to form around him. Behind his calm exterior, Marcus processes the situation with strategic precision. He could name-drop connections, demand Sterling's supervisor, even display his company's $30 million sponsorship agreement. But he chooses a different path, one that will prove more revealing than any credential. Marcus thinks about his 16-year-old son, Michael, who will inevitably see this footage on social media, about the conversations they'll need to have, the explanations required, about carrying the burden of representing more than just himself in moments like these. I understand you're just doing your job, Marcus says quietly, his voice carrying dignity that contrasts sharply with Sterling's aggression. But I think you might want to double-check with your supervisor. Sterling's walkie-talkie crackles to life, his supervisor's voice requesting an update on the entrance situation. Sterling's hand moves swiftly to silence the device before Marcus can hear the conversation. The moment hangs, suspended between them, Marcus's patient professionalism against Sterling's escalating hostility. Sterling's walkie-talkie crackles with his supervisor's voice, but he quickly turns it off. Sterling raises his voice deliberately, ensuring maximum audience participation in the unfolding spectacle. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to step aside. You're disrupting the entrance for invited guests. A semicircle forms around them as tech executives clutch champagne flutes, transforming from networking professionals into reluctant spectators. Some faces show discomfort at the obvious discrimination, others display the morbid fascination of witnessing someone else's downfall. The modern coliseum of social media consumption takes shape before Marcus's eyes. Despite the mounting humiliation, Marcus refuses to raise his voice. He understands the optics with crystalline clarity. How an angry black man would be perceived versus a calm, professional one. Every response is calculated for the cameras now recording, every word chosen to maintain dignity under assault. Sterling, emboldened by the attention and sensing weakness in Marcus's restraint, signals his security team with theatrical authority. I think we need to escort this gentleman out. He's clearly confused about where he belongs. Marcus slowly reaches for his phone, displaying the official invitation bearing his name, title, and company affiliation. The screen clearly shows his credentials and confirmation details. Sterling barely glances at the device before dismissing it with practiced disdain. Like I said, anyone can fake these nowadays, Sterling announces to his audience. Very sophisticated forgeries. You'd be surprised what people try. Sterling checks his watch with exaggerated precision, turning the moment into public theater. Sir, I'm going to count to 10. If you're not gone by then, we'll have to remove you. 1, 2. The countdown echoes through the marble foyer, each number functioning as a public lashing. Marcus could explode with righteous fury, could embarrass Sterling with facts, connections, and wealth. Instead, he chooses a different kind of power. The power of allowing someone to expose themselves completely. Among the crowd, Marcus spots Jennifer Chen, CEO of Quantum Solutions, a woman he's met at 3 previous conferences. She knows exactly who he is, understands his industry standing. Her face displays mortification at the unfolding injustice, yet she remains silent, complicit through inaction. 8, 9, 10. Sterling's voice carries triumphant finality. Officers, please escort this individual off the premises and make sure he doesn't come back tonight. Two security guards approach Marcus with hesitant steps. He raises his hands slightly, a gesture of compliance that also signals peaceful intentions to the recording devices. "I'll leave voluntarily," he states clearly, ensuring good audio quality for the inevitable footage analysis. As Marcus turns toward the exit, Sterling cannot resist delivering one final devastating blow. "Next time, maybe try the community college job fair. More your speed." At least 6 phones capture the moment in high definition. The footage will be dissected, memed, and analyzed across social platforms within hours, becoming evidence of both Marcus's dignity and Sterling's cruelty. Marcus walks to his Tesla with measured steps, not hurried, not defeated. He acknowledges the valet with a polite nod, tips generously despite the circumstances, and sits motionless in his car for exactly 30 seconds before starting the engine. As Marcus drives away, his phone buzzes. "Sir, Channel 7 News just called." Marcus drives through Manhattan's neon-lit arteries, hands steady on the wheel despite the storm building inside him. His reflection in the side mirror reveals a man methodically processing humiliation into strategy. This isn't about revenge. It's about consequences that will reshape an entire industry. His phone buzzes incessantly with incoming calls. News outlets, colleagues, friends who've already seen the footage circulating across social media platforms. He ignores them all except one, his lawyer, James Morrison. "Marcus, I've seen the video. We have grounds for a discrimination lawsuit that could bring millions," James begins urgently. "No lawsuits, James. I have something better in mind." Marcus pulls into a parking garage and opens his laptop. The screen illuminates his face as he navigates to the $30 million sponsorship agreement between Nexus Dynamics and Pinnacle Innovation Awards. His company isn't merely attending tonight's event. They're the primary financial backer, the foundation upon which the entire organization operates. He reflects on his journey with painful clarity. The foster homes where he learned self-reliance, the full scholarship to MIT where he proved his intellectual worth. The 3 startups built from nothing, each success achieved despite people like Sterling deciding where he belonged. His phone rings with a call that matters more than any media inquiry. "Dad, everyone at school is talking about it," his 16-year-old son Michael says, voice heavy with the weight of viral humiliation. "The comments are really rough." "I know, son, but watch what happens next. This is how you transform humiliation into education, how you turn someone else's prejudice into systemic change." Marcus begins strategic calls to his executive team. Each conversation is brief, precise, purposeful. He's orchestrating something far beyond personal vindication. He's designing an industry transformation that will ensure no one else endures what he experienced tonight. Opening his contacts, Marcus scrolls to Sterling Daniel. They've met before, at a charity fundraiser where Marcus donated $100,000 to Sterling's community organization. Sterling had been effusive with gratitude then, all smiles and handshakes, never recognizing the man he would later humiliate based on appearance alone. Marcus contemplates the systemic nature of tonight's incident. How many other black executives, entrepreneurs, and professionals face similar treatment at industry events? How many lack the resources, connections, or platform to respond effectively? How many simply accept discrimination as the price of participation? He drafts an email to the Pinnacle Innovation Awards Board of Directors, not angry or accusatory, just a simple professional notice of sponsorship cancellation, effective immediately. The message sits in his drafts folder. He won't send it yet. Timing will be everything. Marcus opens another file, a comprehensive diversity and inclusion initiative he's been developing for months. Tonight's incident has just provided the catalyst to launch something much larger than personal justice. His PR team calls with urgent damage control strategies. "Marcus, we need to shape the narrative. Do you want to go on the offensive?" "No offense needed. Just let them keep talking. Their words will become evidence. He remembers his mentor's wisdom. Success is the best revenge, but systemic change is the best legacy. Marcus receives a call from an unknown number, the event coordinator, frantically apologizing. Emergency conference calls erupt among Pinnacle Innovation Awards board members as the crisis spirals beyond containment. The video has achieved viral status. Major sponsors are threatening withdrawal, and their organizational reputation hemorrhages credibility by the hour. Board Chair Catherine Walsh reviews the devastating financial projections with growing alarm. Our top 3 sponsors are reconsidering their partnerships. The Williams incident has become a liability we cannot ignore or minimize. Sterling faces immediate suspension pending a comprehensive investigation. Security footage from the event confirms the discrimination with damning clarity, showing his dismissive behavior and deliberate refusal to properly verify Marcus's legitimate credentials. While the world demands his response, Marcus maintains strategic silence that amplifies the story's impact exponentially. His last social media post appeared 3 days ago, a technical discussion about AI innovation. The deliberate quiet transforms absence into presence, making his eventual response inevitable and powerful. Tech industry leaders begin weighing public statements carefully. Some offer immediate support to Marcus. Others maintain diplomatic neutrality while privately reassessing their own practices. The incident becomes a litmus test for corporate values and authentic commitment to diversity. Private investigators hired by the board uncover Sterling's troubling history. 3 previous complaints about discriminatory behavior were quietly handled through internal channels, swept under organizational carpets rather than addressed systematically. Sterling desperately attempts reaching Marcus through mutual connections, seeking private meetings to apologize and limit damage. Every avenue leads to polite but firm refusals from Marcus's representatives. Inside Nexus Dynamics, Marcus's team conducts emergency damage assessment. CMO Lisa Torres presents encouraging social media analytics. Overwhelmingly positive sentiment toward Marcus, massive increases in brand recognition, and unprecedented inquiries from potential partners seeking association with principled leadership. Marcus reveals to his executive team that tonight's incident represents something larger than individual prejudice. This isn't about one security guard's bias. It's about institutional patterns that enable such behavior to persist unchecked across our industry. He recognizes that his response will define more than personal reputation. It will establish precedent for how corporate America addresses discrimination. The stakes have evolved beyond personal vindication into industry-wide transformation. Sterling finally comprehends the magnitude of his catastrophic mistake. This transcends embarrassing incidents. It threatens his entire career trajectory, his family's reputation, and his future in event management. Media outlets offer Marcus 6-figure sums for exclusive interviews. He declines every offer, maintaining strategic silence while the story grows organically through authentic outrage and genuine support. Marcus receives a call from the mayor's office, requesting urgent meetings about legislation. Mayor Johnson's office attempts leveraging the incident as political capital for new anti-discrimination legislation. Marcus politely declines the meeting, understanding that politicizing the issue could dilute its transformative impact and reduce it to partisan theater. Competing companies circle like vultures, reaching out with partnership offers and transparent attempts to poach Nexus Dynamics' clients. Marcus ignores these opportunistic approaches, recognizing exploitation disguised as solidarity. Similar stories emerge across social media platforms like floodwaters breaking through a dam. Other executives share their experiences of discrimination at industry events, conferences, and professional gatherings. Marcus's incident has opened floodgates of testimonials that reveal systemic patterns of bias. Sterling's suspension becomes permanent termination as the board discovers his extensive history of discriminatory behavior. Local news interviews former colleagues who describe consistent patterns of bias that were repeatedly overlooked, normalized, and enabled by organizational silence. Marcus's executive team presents comprehensive response strategies, but he has something fundamentally different in mind. We're not just responding to this isolated incident. We're preventing thousands of future ones through systematic change. Major tech companies begin announcing diversity initiatives with suspicious timing, clearly responding to the Marcus Williams incident's viral impact. The story has become a catalyst for industry-wide examination of discriminatory practices. Sterling's firing generates headlines that cement his reputation as a cautionary tale. His attempts to secure new employment are systematically hampered by viral infamy that follows him across industries. The man who judged others' worthiness now faces professional exile. Marcus begins preparing the most important speech of his career. Not a defensive response to discrimination, but a proactive call to action for systematic industry transformation that will prevent future Sterling incidents. His assistant schedules a press conference for the following morning without revealing details, just a promise that Marcus Williams will address recent events. The mystery generates speculation and anticipation across tech industry circles. Tech blogs and financial news outlets frantically speculate about Marcus's next move. Will he pursue legal action, establish a foundation, launch a competing organization? The uncertainty amplifies interest and engagement. Sterling releases a scripted public apology video that backfires spectacularly. His hollow words ring false, and social media responds with mockery, skepticism, and deeper analysis of his discriminatory patterns. Marcus spends the evening helping his son with homework, discussing dignity under pressure and strategic response to injustice. "Dad, you're handling this better than I would have," Michael observes with growing admiration. The board chair of Pinnacle Innovation Awards requests an urgent private meeting. Catherine Walsh, board chair of Pinnacle Innovation Awards, sits across from Marcus in his corner office while Manhattan's skyline stretches behind him like a backdrop of power and infinite possibility. Her composed demeanor cannot mask the desperation driving this unprecedented meeting. "Marcus, I need to be completely direct with you," Catherine begins, abandoning diplomatic pleasantries. "We're hemorrhaging sponsors at a catastrophic rate. 3 major companies have already terminated their partnerships, and 2 more are actively reconsidering. The Sterling incident has become an existential threat to our organization's survival." Marcus opens his laptop with deliberate precision, displaying the comprehensive sponsorship agreement that few people have seen in its entirety. "Catherine, Nexus Dynamics provides 37% of your annual operating budget. Our partnership agreement includes a morality clause allowing immediate termination for discriminatory practices or conduct detrimental to inclusive business environments." Catherine's face pales as the implications crystallize. This isn't just about managing one incident. It's about organizational survival. Marcus reveals information that transforms Catherine's understanding completely. He's been systematically tracking discrimination incidents across tech industry events for 2 years, building a comprehensive database of testimonials, video evidence, and documented patterns of bias. The Sterling incident isn't isolated. It's representative of widespread institutional discrimination. "This isn't about one security guard's prejudice, Catherine. This is about systemic change that our entire industry desperately needs." The database Marcus displays contains hundreds of incidents, testimonials from victims, video documentation, and patterns of discriminatory behavior across multiple organizations and events. Catherine realizes she's not confronting one public relations crisis, but potential exposure of industry-wide discrimination that could destroy multiple organizations simultaneously. Marcus stands and walks to his window, silhouette commanding against the city lights. "I'm not just a CEO, Catherine. I'm an investor with significant stakes in 15 companies that sponsor tech events regularly. I sit on the boards of 3 major innovation foundations, and I possess the financial resources to create alternative platforms that prioritize inclusion over tradition." The ultimatum arrives with quiet authority that makes shouting unnecessary. Marcus presents Catherine with a binary choice: Implement comprehensive diversity and inclusion reforms across all Pinnacle events immediately, or face the systematic loss of millions in sponsorship revenue and the creation of a competing organization with Marcus as primary backer. Marcus slides a detailed reform proposal across the polished table. Mandatory bias training for all staff members, diverse hiring requirements with measurable goals, transparent accountability measures with public reporting, and an independent ombudsman position with real authority to investigate discrimination complaints. Catherine absorbs the document's scope with growing understanding. This isn't just about our organization, is it? Marcus explains his vision with the passion of someone who's experienced discrimination and chosen transformation over destruction. He envisions complete transformation of how the tech industry conducts networking events, conferences, and professional gatherings. Zero tolerance for discrimination, backed by real consequences and systematic accountability. I've already secured commitments from 12 major tech companies to support comprehensive reforms, Marcus reveals. If Pinnacle doesn't comply, they're prepared to create an entirely new event platform with transparent, inclusive practices. Catherine grasps the full magnitude of her situation. This isn't negotiation, it's industry evolution. What happened with Sterling was unfortunate, but it was also inevitable, Marcus continues. When organizations don't address bias systematically, it manifests in moments like these. We can prevent future Sterling incidents, or we can continue reacting to them indefinitely. Faced with organizational destruction or unprecedented reform, Catherine recognizes she has no real choice. What exactly do you need from us? Marcus outlines immediate implementation steps. Sterling's termination was merely the beginning. Every staff member will undergo comprehensive bias training. Hiring practices will face independent audits, and a diversity board will be established with genuine authority over organizational policies. Catherine, I've been planning this transformation for months. The Sterling incident simply accelerated my timeline. Change is coming to this industry whether organizations choose to participate or become obsolete. Instead of destroying Pinnacle, Marcus offers partnership in becoming the industry leader in inclusive practices. Be the model other organizations aspire to emulate, not the cautionary tale they desperately avoid. Catherine's voice carries resignation mixed with reluctant admiration. You're not just canceling your sponsorship, are you? You're revolutionizing how we conduct business entirely. Marcus returns to his desk, power radiating from controlled calm rather than aggressive dominance. I'm creating a future where my son doesn't have to prepare for moments like I experienced tonight, where talent and innovation matter more than someone's superficial perception of who belongs in professional spaces. Catherine agrees to reforms, but warns that other industry leaders will resist change. Marcus addresses assembled media from Nexus Dynamics' headquarters, standing before a backdrop that subtly displays his company's achievements and patents. Instead of anger or victimization, he presents a comprehensive blueprint for industry transformation that catches everyone off guard. Yesterday's incident was a symptom of a deeper disease, Marcus begins, his voice carrying the authority of someone who has transformed personal pain into systematic solution. Today, we begin treating the underlying condition that enables discrimination to flourish in professional environments. The announcement sends shockwaves through corporate America. Marcus reveals the creation of the Inclusive Innovation Initiative, a $50 million fund dedicated to eliminating discrimination in tech industry events. The fund will provide comprehensive training programs, accountability measures, and alternative platforms for companies genuinely committed to change. The tech world reacts with surprise, admiration, and strategic recalculation. Instead of pursuing legal action or public shaming campaigns, Marcus has weaponized the incident into systematic transformation. Stock prices for companies with strong diversity records rise, while organizations with questionable practices face immediate scrutiny from investors and partners. Within hours of the announcement, 5 major tech companies publicly declare partnerships with Marcus's initiative. Event organizers across the industry begin frantically implementing bias training and accountability measures, terrified they might become the next viral example of institutional discrimination. Sterling's termination evolves into a comprehensive cautionary tale. His attempts to secure new employment are systematically thwarted by viral infamy that has permanently branded him as a symbol of workplace discrimination. He's forced to abandon the events industry entirely, accepting significantly lower-paying work in an unrelated field. While Marcus avoids litigation, 3 additional discrimination victims emerge with similar Sterling incidents spanning multiple years. Class action attorneys begin investigating patterns of bias across the entire events industry, using Marcus's database as foundational evidence for potential systematic legal action. Other companies begin announcing suspiciously similar initiatives, attempting to capitalize on the inclusive innovation movement without genuine commitment to change. Marcus welcomes the competition, understanding that widespread adoption serves the greater good, regardless of motivation. Catherine Walsh transforms Pinnacle Innovation Awards through comprehensive organizational overhaul. New leadership, revised policies, and unprecedented commitment to becoming the industry's most inclusive organization. She publicly credits Marcus with saving her company from obsolescence through necessary evolution. From his apartment, Sterling watches former colleagues implement changes he could have prevented through basic human decency. His refusal to examine personal biases has cost him everything: career, reputation, and professional future. The consequences of discrimination extend far beyond his original victim. Universities begin inviting Marcus to speak about transforming discrimination into systematic change. His strategic response becomes a Harvard Business School case study in crisis management, demonstrating how principled leadership can create positive transformation from negative incidents. Companies sponsoring events face unprecedented scrutiny regarding their diversity and inclusion practices. Marcus's incident database becomes a reference point for evaluating corporate partnerships, with businesses demanding proof of inclusive policies before committing resources. Michael Williams watches his father's press conference from school, surrounded by classmates who witnessed the viral humiliation video. "Your dad didn't just get revenge," one student observes with genuine admiration. "He actually changed the entire system." Government officials begin discussing federal legislation to address discrimination in professional settings. Marcus's incident has become a catalyst for policy discussions about corporate accountability, though he carefully avoids partisan political involvement that could compromise his broader mission. Companies refusing to join Marcus's initiative find themselves increasingly isolated as speakers, sponsors, and attendees gravitate toward more inclusive platforms. The market begins naturally selecting for organizations that prioritize diversity over discrimination. Sterling attempts leveraging his notoriety into becoming a spokesperson against discrimination, but his efforts are met with widespread skepticism. His transformation appears opportunistic rather than authentic, undermining any potential redemption narrative. Marcus establishes quantifiable metrics for measuring the initiative's success: increased diversity at industry events, reduced discrimination complaints, improved representation in tech leadership positions, and systematic cultural change across professional networking environments. Catherine Walsh becomes one of Marcus's strongest advocates, using her extensive industry connections to promote the Inclusive Innovation Initiative. Her transformation from defensive board chair to reform champion surprises colleagues while demonstrating the possibility of genuine organizational change. The story gains international attention as global tech organizations reach out to implement similar reforms in their respective markets. Marcus's local incident becomes a worldwide movement for professional inclusion and systematic bias elimination. Marcus's initiative attracts additional funding from tech leaders seeking association with positive change and moral leadership. The original $50 million fund grows to $200 million within months as corporate America recognizes the business value of inclusive practices. Sterling's discrimination video becomes required viewing in corporate training sessions across multiple industries. His moment of prejudice is replayed thousands of times, ensuring his legacy as a permanent cautionary tale about the consequences of workplace bias. Event organizers in finance, healthcare, and manufacturing begin adopting Marcus's standards, recognizing that discrimination extends far beyond technology. The ripple effects spread across professional environments, creating systematic change that transcends industry boundaries. Marcus receives hundreds of messages from executives who faced similar discrimination but lacked resources to respond effectively. His success provides hope, strategy, and proof that individual actions can create systematic transformation when approached with strategic thinking rather than emotional reaction. Sterling contacts intermediaries, claiming he wants to make amends and learn from mistakes. Sterling reaches out through mutual acquaintances, claiming he wants to make genuine amends and learn from his catastrophic mistake. Marcus agrees to a brief meeting, not for Sterling's benefit, but to demonstrate the fundamental difference between performative apology and authentic change. Sterling arrives at the neutral location looking haggard, his once confident demeanor replaced by desperate vulnerability. The man who held absolute power over who belonged in exclusive spaces now begs for acceptance from the person he systematically humiliated. Sterling's apology follows textbook corporate crisis management, accepting responsibility while deflecting blame, expressing regret while avoiding genuine accountability. Marcus listens with patience that reflects strategic purpose rather than forgiveness, recognizing the carefully rehearsed performance. "Daniel, do you understand what you actually did wrong?" Marcus asks quietly, cutting through prepared talking points. Sterling begins reciting memorized phrases about unconscious bias and inappropriate behavior, but Marcus raises his hand to stop the hollow recitation. Marcus explains that Sterling's actions weren't simply about one unfortunate incident. They represented a systematic approach that allows prejudice to masquerade as professionalism. "You weren't just doing your job, Daniel. You were playing God with other people's dignity, deciding who deserved respect based on your personal biases." When Sterling argues that he was merely following established protocols and treats everyone equally, Marcus produces his tablet and displays testimonials from other victims of Sterling's discriminatory behavior, spanning 3 years of documented incidents. The evidence is overwhelming and undeniable. Different victims, identical patterns, subtle bias disguised as procedural thoroughness. Dignity systematically stripped away under the guise of security protocols and professional standards. Faced with comprehensive documentation of his behavior, Sterling's carefully maintained composure crumbles completely. He realizes his actions weren't isolated mistakes, but part of a consistent pattern he had rationalized and justified over years of unchecked discrimination. Marcus methodically explains how Sterling's behavior affected not just individual victims, but entire families, professional careers, and the industry's cultural environment. Every person you turned away had children watching, colleagues observing, and dreams you casually dismissed without consideration. Sterling desperately pleads for a second chance, offering to become a spokesperson for change and use his experience to educate others about the dangers of unconscious bias. Marcus recognizes the desperation of someone facing permanent consequences for systematic bad behavior. Marcus politely but firmly declines Sterling's offer. Change cannot be driven by the people who created the problems. Transformation must come from those genuinely committed to prevention, not from those seeking personal redemption. Sterling's desperation transforms into defensive anger as he realizes Marcus won't help rehabilitate his destroyed reputation. "You've completely destroyed my career over one simple mistake," he shouts, revealing that he still fundamentally misunderstands the gravity of his systematic discriminatory actions. Marcus remains completely calm as Sterling's professional mask slips entirely, exposing the same prejudice and entitlement that caused his original downfall. "Daniel, this isn't about one mistake. This is about a documented pattern of behavior that you're still defending even now." Sterling storms out of the meeting, his brief attempt at redemption ending in the same discriminatory attitudes and defensive entitlement that destroyed his career. He has learned absolutely nothing from the experience or its consequences. Word of the attempted reconciliation spreads quickly through industry circles. Sterling's behavior during the meeting confirms that his termination was completely justified, and that he remains fundamentally unsuitable for any position requiring authority over others. Marcus incorporates Sterling's story into his speaking engagements as a teaching moment about the difference between genuine change and performative apology. Some people evolve when they face consequences. Others simply become more sophisticated at hiding their true nature. Sterling's continued attempts to find employment in adjacent industries are systematically hampered by his viral notoriety and documented history of discrimination. His story becomes a permanent cautionary tale about the lasting consequences of prejudicial behavior in professional environments. The contrast between Sterling's defensive anger and Marcus's constructive response becomes a comprehensive case study in leadership, demonstrating how character reveals itself under pressure and how different people respond to accountability. Event management companies quietly circulate Sterling's name as someone to avoid hiring under any circumstances. His reputation for discrimination makes him a liability that no organization wants to risk, regardless of his technical qualifications or previous experience. International human rights organizations contact Marcus about his systematic transformation approach. The United Nations Human Rights Council extends an invitation to Marcus for addressing corporate discrimination and systematic change on a global platform. His local incident has evolved into an international case study demonstrating how individual dignity can catalyze worldwide transformation of professional environments. 6 months after the incident, Marcus's initiative publishes its first comprehensive impact report with remarkable statistics. Discrimination complaints at tech industry events have decreased by 78%, while diversity in attendance has increased by 45%. Across participating organizations. Marcus's protocols become the internationally recognized gold standard for inclusive events. The Williams Standards are adopted by organizations across 6 continents, creating a new baseline for professional gatherings that prioritizes merit over prejudice and inclusion over exclusion. Business schools integrate Marcus's strategic response into their curricula as a masterclass in crisis management and systematic change. Instead of destroying enemies through litigation or public shaming, he transformed entire systems through strategic thinking and principled action. The success of Marcus's initiative inspires parallel reforms across multiple industries. Financial services, healthcare, manufacturing, and education adopt comparable accountability measures, recognizing that discrimination transcends technological environments and requires systematic solutions. Sterling's story becomes mandatory content in corporate training programs worldwide. His documented actions serve as clear examples of how unconscious bias evolves into active discrimination when left unchecked by organizational accountability. Young professionals entering the tech industry encounter a fundamentally different culture than previous generations experienced. Inclusive practices are no longer optional initiatives. They represent expected standards enforced through systematic accountability and measurable consequences. Companies sponsoring events now face regular independent audits of their diversity and inclusion practices. Marcus's comprehensive database continues tracking progress while identifying areas requiring additional intervention and systematic improvement. Several organizations discover that inclusive practices actually improve business outcomes beyond moral considerations. Diverse events generate increased innovation, stronger partnerships, and enhanced reputation that translates into measurable competitive advantages. Marcus's initiative expands globally with operational offices in London, Tokyo, São Paulo, and Johannesburg. The movement has transcended its origins to become a worldwide standard for professional inclusion and systematic bias elimination. Competitors attempt replicating Marcus's success, but their efforts lack the authenticity and comprehensive approach that made his initiative effective. Surface-level changes without systematic commitment fail to achieve lasting transformation. Federal agencies explore legislation codifying Marcus's standards into legal requirements. What began as a corporate initiative may become mandatory practice enforced through governmental regulation and systematic legal accountability. Marcus reflects on the transformation from his office overlooking Manhattan. The incident that could have destroyed his reputation instead became the foundation for his most significant achievement and lasting legacy. Sterling's name becomes synonymous with outdated, discriminatory practices that progressive organizations actively avoid. His story serves as a permanent reminder of what the industry has evolved beyond through systematic change. Success in event management now includes diversity metrics alongside traditional measures like attendance figures and revenue generation. Marcus's influence has fundamentally redefined industry standards and professional expectations. The phrase, "you're not on the list," becomes a recognized symbol of discriminatory gatekeeping. Organizations work proactively to ensure their practices don't echo Sterling's mistake or perpetuate systematic exclusion. Marcus's son, Michael, now studying business with a focus on inclusive leadership, represents the next generation shaped by his father's transformation of discrimination into systematic change. The incident that once embarrassed him now inspires his career direction. Universities, professional organizations, and industry groups adopt Marcus's comprehensive framework for inclusive practices. The systematic change has become self-sustaining and permanent, extending far beyond its original catalyst. Marcus receives an unexpected letter from Sterling's teenage daughter expressing gratitude. Sterling's daughter, Sarah, writes to Marcus expressing profound shame about her father's actions and deep gratitude for his dignified response to discrimination. She's studying social justice at Columbia University, inspired by how Marcus transformed public humiliation into positive, systematic change that benefits countless others. Marcus responds personally, emphasizing that children bear no responsibility for their parents' mistakes while encouraging her continued studies in social justice. He offers a summer internship at his foundation, demonstrating that redemption remains possible through the next generation's commitment to inclusion and equality. Marcus delivers his highly anticipated TED Talk to a packed auditorium, but his message surprises audiences expecting anger or victimization. Instead, he discusses the transformative power of strategic response and systematic change over emotional reaction and personal revenge. When someone shows you who they are, believe them completely, Marcus tells the global audience. But when they show you who they are, also show them who you are. Use their revelation as an opportunity for your own transformation and systematic improvement. Marcus's son, Michael, now a freshman at Stanford University, leads his dormitory's diversity initiative with passion inherited from his father's example. The incident that once embarrassed him has become a source of pride and purpose. Dad didn't just handle discrimination, he tells his roommates. He eliminated it systematically. In his home office, surrounded by awards and recognition letters from around the world, Marcus keeps a small framed photograph from the night of the incident. Not of his humiliation, but of his son watching the press conference with admiration and growing understanding of principled leadership. Sterling, now working as a night security guard at a suburban office building, occasionally sees news coverage of Marcus's continued success and industry transformation. He's learned to live with the permanent consequences of his choices, though genuine understanding of his impact still eludes him completely. Marcus regularly mentors young professionals who face discrimination in their careers. His advice remains consistent. Document everything systematically, respond strategically rather than emotionally, and focus on changing systems rather than just individual situations. Marcus establishes the Sterling Foundation, named with deliberate irony after his antagonist, dedicated to preventing discrimination in professional settings across all industries. The foundation's motto reflects his philosophy: dignity for all, excuses for none. At a colleague's wedding reception, Marcus encounters the event coordinator who called him that fateful night. She credits his response with transforming her entire approach to event management and professional inclusion. "You didn't just change our policies," she says earnestly. "You changed our hearts and minds." 3 years later, Marcus's initiative has documented a 90% reduction in discrimination complaints at tech industry events. More importantly, representation of minorities in technology leadership positions has increased by 60% across participating organizations. Marcus returns to the same venue where Sterling humiliated him, but this time as keynote speaker for the newly reformed Pinnacle Innovation Awards. The security team greets him with genuine respect and professionalism that reflects systematic organizational change. In quiet moments, Marcus reflects on the incident's deepest lesson about the choice between destruction and transformation. "I could have destroyed one man's career and called it justice. Instead, I chose to build a system where such behavior becomes impossible." Marcus's success in technology inspires him to tackle discrimination in other industries using the same methodical approach. His proven methods, documentation, strategic response, and systematic change prove universally applicable across professional environments. Marcus imagines his future grandchildren growing up in a world where their worthiness is never questioned based on appearance or background. The systematic work continues expanding, but the foundation for lasting change remains solid and permanent. Marcus's story demonstrates that the most powerful response to discrimination isn't destruction or revenge. It's transformation that elevates entire systems. When someone tries to diminish your worth, you can choose to elevate everyone's opportunities. Revenge focuses on the past. Reform builds the future. I chose the future. Turn every closed door into an open system. Marcus looks directly into the camera, his voice carrying the weight of experience and the promise of continued transformation. Have you ever witnessed workplace discrimination? Share your story below. Your experience could help someone else navigate similar challenges. Remember, you're not alone in this fight for dignity and inclusion. He challenges viewers to implement immediate change within their own organizations and professional environments. Don't wait for someone else to create the inclusive environment you want to see. Start with your company, your team, your very next meeting. Be the change you want to see systematically implemented. Marcus provides concrete, actionable steps that anyone can implement immediately. First, document everything meticulously. Second, respond strategically rather than emotionally. Third, focus on changing entire systems, not just individual behaviors or isolated incidents. His voice carries inspiration earned through personal transformation of pain into progress. If one night of public humiliation can transform an entire industry, imagine what your voice could accomplish. Every person who speaks up courageously makes it easier for the next person to stand up with confidence. Marcus extends a personal invitation to viewers seeking meaningful involvement in systematic change. We're creating a world where talent and character matter more than someone's superficial perception of who belongs in professional spaces. Join us in this essential work. The statistics Marcus shares demonstrate the real impact of collective action and systematic response. Since sharing this story, we've received over 10,000 messages from people who faced similar discrimination. Your story matters profoundly. Your response matters strategically. Your future matters systematically. Marcus addresses potential critics with calm confidence that comes from proven results. Some will say this story is about playing the victim or seeking attention. Those people are missing the fundamental point. This is about playing the game changer and creating lasting transformation. His promise carries the authority of someone who has transformed personal pain into systematic progress. I promise you this: if you face discrimination, you have more power than you realize. Use it wisely. Use it strategically. Use it to build something better for everyone. Marcus teases future content that will continue inspiring viewers towards systematic change. Next week, I'll share the story of how a single mother turned workplace harassment into a $50 million company that's revolutionizing how businesses treat employees. Her strategy will surprise you completely. He creates anticipation for additional stories of transformation and systematic change. If Marcus Williams's story resonated with you, you won't believe what happened when a janitor at a Fortune 500 company was told he didn't belong in the executive elevator. His response changed corporate culture forever. Marcus issues specific calls to action that create community engagement and systematic change. Before you go, do 3 things. Like this video if you believe in dignity for all. Share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And comment below with one way you'll make your workplace more inclusive. His final challenge transforms viewers from passive consumers into active participants in systematic change. Remember, you have the power to be someone's Marcus Williams. The question isn't whether you'll face discrimination or witness it. The question is how you'll respond when you do. Marcus concludes with his signature message of empowerment and systematic transformation. I'm Marcus Williams, and I believe that every closed door is an opportunity to build a better entrance. Keep pushing forward, keep building up, and remember, you belong wherever your talent and character take you.
Behind every headline is a human story. At Beat Stories, we go deeper, where emotion meets evidence and drama reveals the system. If this story made you pause, reflect, or feel something, don't forget to subscribe. There's more to come.